Welcome everyone. We're here to discuss about fostering inclusive innovation through social emotional learning. This is a topic very close to us at Dream a Dream of how social emotional learning sort of surfaces everywhere. Inclusive innovation is one of the aspects where we are focusing so much on technology and innovation that we probably don't realize what important social emotional competency face. And I think today we're going to change the lens. We're going to look at this entire conversation from an SEL lens. We have eminent panelists with me. I'm very pleased to announce that we have Abhishek Ranjan with us, who's the Innovation Officer from Ministry of Education. We have Hani, who's the founder of Torchit, a social enterprise working with persons with disability, creating innovative solutions. We have Professor Bharti working with Central Institute of Educational Technology, CIET, NCRT, a very prominent body with Ministry of Education, creating sort of dynamic, inclusive educational technology material for all the students in the country. And we have Netravati, who is not just a young person, but a person deeply passionate about technology and innovation. She's currently pursuing engineering. I will not take much of our time, and I'm going to just delve into the conversation for today with a check-in question. The check-in question today is a little reflective. I would invite you all to maybe go back into the past, think about a time when you met with a challenge that really made you think about things differently, a little more creatively, a little bit more with innovation. And I would invite you to maybe share that experience. And if you can, like, what were the social emotional competency that helped you while you were figuring out how to solve this challenge in your life? And the floor is open. Anybody can start. Abhishek, Hani, Bharti ma'am, Netravati, anybody.
Okay, so let me start. If nobody else is opening the conversation, let it be my privilege. So you said delve into your past. So I looked back and I went to the moment when I was preparing for developing a handbook for teachers to include children with autism in the primary schools. And you know, for children with autism, the major challenge is to express themselves, how to share their emotions and the language is a big challenge for them to understand the language that is spoken by others, and also for their self-expression, emotional expression, expressing their pain and how do they feel. And the biggest challenge for me around 10 years back was how to make the regular teachers working in the inclusive schools connect to the disability called autism, the condition called autism. Because when I started the work, the teachers were not familiar with the term autism because it is one of the so-called invisible kind of a disability, wherein you have to be a little more sensitive to be able to connect to the condition called autism. So this was the biggest challenge. So how did I overcome it? I never wanted to make a handbook which is theoretical, which starts with what is autism and all. So we were like, the entire team was puzzled and were thinking how to move around it. So we put ourselves into the teachers' shoes. We tried to be as empathetic with the teachers as possible. We went to the schools, we visited inclusive classrooms, and then when the chapters were put together, we revolved it around the day of the teacher in a school per se, right from the assembly, what needs to be done. So that was the biggest challenge that I'm able to recall right now. Then there are other challenges associated with so many other initiatives called Pressures, the disability screening checklist, and also the one currently I'm working on is Touch Soundbook. So class 1 mathematics textbook. We never imagined that would be the greatest challenge in front of us. And the challenges of the type like how to convert picture-based questions for children with blindness. Because our mathematics textbooks are nothing less than workbooks. So each picture was a fresh challenge. Each puzzle was a fresh challenge. Each activity was a fresh challenge. So those 124 pages, we took around 150 days to finish with each question and each page.
Wow.
So again, we had to get ourselves into the shoes of the children who are sitting in the inclusive classroom and the children with blindness.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much,
Pallavi.
ma'am. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I think thank you for getting this started. I think this is wonderful, and I hear empathy as being the core competency here, right? I mean, for us to even think about how to figure that creative solution to a challenge which I think the teachers have never experienced themselves, never been exposed to, then empathy becomes central to the idea. Yeah, I would want to invite anybody who's ready. Honey, I see you smiling. I think you already have something in mind.
Yeah, like there's so many things like if I look at the past about the challenges and the we being in okay, so I was in my third and fourth year of engineering and I was developing a torch. I developed a torch which is for the visually impaired, and that's how the torch 10 appeared. And while we were being an innovator, being an engineering, we wanted to add more GPS, add more sensors, add more uh, features. And this is how we have made 13 prototypes, 13 different iterations. And then we realized like they don't want all this thing in one product. They just want a single product which can solve the basic problem of their mobility of visually impaired. Then again, after two or three more iterations, we have launched this product. So I'm happy to share, like initially we were planned to put a lot of things inside, and it makes things more complex and more not easy to use. Many times we are thinking like we should add this functions, and the simple, the basic is the best. So this is how the one of the most accurate and the most affordable device which we have made. And I am happy to share today we have impacted more than 400,000 visually impaired people with this device, not only in India but in more than 40 plus countries. So, and after working with visually impaired, they are asking about more products, and then we launched slowly new products in this field. But this is the most basic, the most ergonomic, the most universal. Like this handheld device, you can connect to any white cane, and that white cane become a smart cane. So, and no fancy, no much technology, but like point problem solving kind of thing. So this is how it got very good, and 400,000 people are using. So this is what uh, like
Yeah, thank you.
help.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, honey. Like, and I love the fact that it started as a project in your engineering and then you just like kept on going back at it. I think, what I hear is resilience. I mean, it's not just problem solving, it's resilience to really like stay on course with the solution and make it better. Um, yeah, brilliant. And I know Torchit has multiple products. I probably we won't have enough time to showcase them all, but I would invite the viewers to maybe search Torchit and then look at the great work they're doing. Uh, Abhishek and Netravati, any of you would want to come in, share the challenge?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I'll go. Hello, everyone. I am currently pursuing my engineering final year, and that was my third year. We all had a mini project. Everyone will face this phase, and I was an enthusiastic technical student in my whole student's life, and when it comes to a mini project, we were four in our team. We chose to build a firefighting robot in our mini project itself. We all set with components, but we failed at circuitry at some point. Initially, the plan was raised by me actually, and so I got to take the failure home, and I just worked on it for three times, four times, and at last at the fourth time, I got the whole circuitry, and I'm very much confident and to present that in front of my friends and college, and that was a great experience. What took me there is that resilience, the fear of failure, that I just stopped from fear, and again, the ability to stay calm and accept that it's okay to not know everything instantly. That
Mm.
took me there. That was a great experience to me, ma'am. I was the one who solved the problem and took the team along. That was the experience I wanted to share.
Thank you, Neitravati. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think one of the components that we talk about a lot at Dream a Dream is also how do we start looking at failure in a very different way. I think as a society and um, especially in the education system, if we do not allow for failure, can we really have room for innovation? With that, I would want to come to you, Abhishek, because you work with innovation. Do you want to share a challenge and a story?
Yes, thank you, Pallavi and others. So I'm just recalling 6 years old incident when I was working in one of the aspirational district called Baravani. It's in Madhya Pradesh district. So that time I was like working with the district administration, how we can ensure that the district is using education related indicators, like especially one of the indicator was uh, how we are ensuring 100% transition rate in terms of enrollment from class 5th to 6th. And we have observed that a large number of students were out of school. So then we started, and that block was like, I'm still recalling that block name called Party. So that due to geographical challenges and all, so many students were out of school. And when we used to, like with my fellow, I used to interact with the parents. They used to say that, sir, for us, uh, like we can't send our kids to schools because we can't afford, and they have to earn something for their family. Uh, and it was very difficult to convince them in terms of endowment. And I was like, see, this is your primary role, right? You are working on multiple factors, but ensuring endowment is also important. And that because of so many challenges, they were not able to send their kids uh, starting from class 6. So that time was like one, one like when parents are not ready to send their kids, and on another side, you have to ensure that they are getting at least formal education as per India's rule that each and every children they deserves at least till class educations. So that time I used to like interact, and I'm still recalling that I used to sit together with some person whom everyone used to listen. They used to be like some sort of head or pradhan, we used to call it. And we used to just tell them one thing that, see, maybe I'm not earning as much as your children are earning, but trust me, as an educated person, I can take decisions. Maybe I used to give them some examples like how they are not able to ensure that like like what should be the options for their better future. Maybe whatever they are doing currently, maybe they are earning very less, but once they will have a basic level understanding, education, maybe they will earn better. Maybe your condition will improvise. And that way we used to motivate, and that way like we ensure that a good number of students are returning back to the schools. And I'm still recalling many grassroots organizations, they have also started following those things. I'm just sharing one of the example that they used to tell us that we are not having money to give them some sort of notebook or something where they can write it in their school. So with the help of district administration, we utilized allocated fund, and what we did in each school, we converted one classroom into a learning platform where they converted a 3 feet size into like some sort of blackboard, and we had given them some sort of opportunity where without having any sort of notebook, paper or any sort of notebook or slate, they are able to write something instead of only listening and responding back. And still, just one small incident also, like where we thought to engage with the village head, and they were only saying that in simple terms, these students are not our voters. Uh, and end of the day, they were having only money to invest on schools, and government is spending lots of money, but at the end of the day, in India, was a tradition where society used to take ownership. So I used to recall all those stories with them that just remember 50 years back, how many schools were funded by government agencies or any other person used to give you funds to establish school. Always they used to say, yes, one of our like villagers, they used to invest money. So that way they started also investing money on some of these schools infrastructure. They started taking ownership. I know this example is very dear to me. Impacted lots of life, and always recalling those moments used to give me some sort of satisfaction that uh, using simple convincing skill, helping them to understand their way, like how whatever you are doing, because I'm not more like a catalyst, but
Mm.
how your small intervention can change the entire impact scenario. I think they
Right.
used to understand it, and they used to started behaving in a way that impacted thousands of lives. So
Right.
these two stories I thought to share.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you for bringing that up. We'll just have a switch of interpreters. And yeah, with that, I think we have had a lot of reflections, and I am really glad that empathy has surfaced, resilience has surfaced, fear of failure has come in. And what Abhishek mentioned is that how do you really appeal to the larger emotional self of society and parents at large, so that we create that space where students are at least going to school, because all of this conversation uh, becomes impossible if we don't have students actually even going into schools. With that, I want to go one by one and ask you certain questions. I want to start with you, Netravati, because I think this story you shared uh, has moved me, and I would want to know like what would be a safe space for you, while growing up in school or in college. How can we create that safe space for having innovation? Like, what creates an innovative mindset, and what kind of space we need to create? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'm pleased and pleasure to answer the question. Uh, for me, an inclusive and emotionally safe classroom is one where students are encouraged to express their ideas without fear of being judged, actually, or labeled on them. It's a space where curiosity is celebrated and failures are treated as natural part of the learning journey. And when one more thing is that when teachers actively listen for students and feels that their diverse perspective matter, they have to look at us in our perspectives too. And we need a classrooms where empathy and teamwork, emotional awareness, and uh, partiality free environment for innovation, ma'am. And my whole education in my whole education, and one thing which emotionally put me in is this partiality or differencing the students. We should not get that thing to us. We
Hmm.
need a free space, and we need a space to think and put ourselves out to them. That is the space where we need.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to uh, have an unbiased environment where actually the students can thrive, where innovation can actually happen. Thank you, Netravati. I think you've beautifully articulated that. Um, with that, I want to come to you, Honey, because I think you work a lot in inclusive innovation already. I want to understand that how do you put persons with disability? I mean, it's a marginalized group. How do you put them at the center of it? Are they involved in any way in this solutions? Or yeah, I just want to hear your thoughts. How do we not have this as an afterthought? How do we have inclusion from the start?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, uh, regarding the first product which we have developed, it is like I was putting my more what you call interest to make this product happen as a more tech product rather than what they want actually. So from that day, I decided to keep them in the center of the process. And today, I'm happy to share like Torchit is for the persons with disability, by the person with disability, and to the persons with disability. So from every step, from ideation to the prototyping to manufacturing, even the marketing and the services is provided by the persons with disability. So we have created the entire ecosystem. And even this are the like even if we talk about the AI glasses or the IoT solution, like this is the AI device, which is again the assembled by the visually impaired or persons with disability friends. So even like when we develop the AI glasses, many people ask, like I'm just sharing you my small example. Like a person has asked like why I should attach wear the black glasses only in the name of AI glasses. Why cannot I can attach to my glasses? So what we have done, like we have made this portable, and you can disconnect from this and connect to any glasses, and any glasses can become the AI glasses. So this is what the innovation which we have created from prototyping and everything. So we take their feedbacks, we take their inputs, even the small documentation, internal documentation are 100% accessible. And okay, second point, we are not an NGO, we are not a government organization, sorry. Why we are hiring a persons with disability? Because if we are providing a accessible environment to them, they provide their 100%, 150%. And trust me guys, like they are very much resourceful and they just need opportunity. And if we provide this opportunity with accessibility, so like we can tap a very brilliant this market which is untapped right now. And with our AI devices, they can able a visually impaired person can able to see and they can able to read any document. So now they are working as far as competent as a sighted person. So
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Hani, for that example.
yeah,
Um, I yeah, I mean, we need to put people who are really impacted by it at the center of it, and I think you're embodying it by putting persons with disability right at the center. And I love the fact that like how by putting them in the center, it's not just benefiting to them; it's
yeah,
benefiting to the overall ecosystem. The innovations have become more meaningful because they are there. And I think that's how we remove it from an afterthought to really getting it from the start. I'm going to come to you, Professor Bharti, um, because you work with the education system, and I think that's where everything starts. It's the curriculum, it's the pedagogy, it's the assessment, and you're directly working with technology and how technology sort of is going to shift the entire system. What do we need to create more inclusive innovators? How do we shift the system to to breed more inclusive innovators like Honey and like Netravati and like others?
Yeah. Basically, the sector of disability inclusion is basically who have felt it, who have become sensitive to the needs, only they are coming, and due to their own, as Netravati has said, due to their own abilities to resilience, persistence, effort, they have sustained in the system and they have able to come out with the products like Honey mentioned, so many products. Because it's an experience which connects them to the maybe to the larger benefit. But the beginning has always been very small. So when we want disability inclusion innovators at a large level, then what we need? We need to touch the teachers. And when I'm saying teachers, teachers are the main actors in an inclusive classroom. So when teachers are touched, and these are, mind you, the regular teachers, when I say regular teachers, these are the teachers who transact the curriculum. Like you mentioned, they are the teachers who are teaching our kids the languages, the mathematics, the EVS, and the other curricular areas. So when these teachers were teaching in our neighborhood schools, which are becoming more and more inclusive nowadays in India, because they allow the children with disabilities and children from other disadvantaged groups to enroll in the neighborhood schools. But at the moment, India is transitioning between physical inclusion to the educational and social inclusion. To some extent, physical inclusion is there, social inclusion is there at the level of peers and the children who are studying together. But as comes to educational inclusion, we need to work a lot with the teachers, not on the teachers, the teachers. And how can we work on on the teachers? There are two levels, one at the pre-service level and another is at the in-service level. At the pre-service level, all the teachers who are taking the pedagogical courses, say pedagogy of languages, pedagogy of mathematics, pedagogy of EVS, and so many other curricular areas, they need to learn at that level how to make inclusive lesson plans, how to address spatial needs right at the preparation level. If we are not able to do that, though the efforts have started in that direction also, will not be able to make as many innovators as we need. So this is my take on that.
Yeah, no, thank you, Bharti ma'am. I think you've given an overview the entire picture of where we stand in terms of physical inclusion, social inclusion, and educational inclusion. I love the fact that you mentioned with the teachers. I think that's what we need to come back to. That how do we give agency to the teachers? Because if they are not empowered, how are they going to create that compassionate and equitable and inclusive environment in the class if they don't feel included in decision making? With that, I come to you, Abhishek. Let's look at the policy level discussions. How are we looking at innovation? I know you work with higher education, a little bit also with the school education, but how do we really, through policy interventions and through the systemic level interventions, how do we breed a culture of innovation in all aspects?
Thank you so much, Pallavi. So I used to we always used to believe that innovation should not be a privilege, but it must be a participative process. We all know that India's strength is its diversity. And if I start sharing my own experience working with in innovation entrepreneurship landscape, when I'm talking to you, we are having 67,000 higher education institutions in India and close to 1.5 million schools. So each and every institutions, irrespective of their background, whether they are in urban setup or in rural setup or they are in remote areas like tribal areas, they must embed this, innovation things as an institutional culture. They are focusing on capacity building, and they are not taking it like another side activity. And to promote it, I will only share how we are ensuring this inclusive education innovation is in each and every policy. So just giving 2-3 examples. One is we started one initiative called, I'm proudly part of it, is Institution Innovation Council. So when we started working with the institutions, we found that few institutions are promoting innovation, entrepreneurship, and they are having good culture. But majority of institutions are maybe not focusing on it because due to so many reasons. So we started doing engaging with the higher education institutions. And when I'm talking to you, out of 67,000 institutions, we are having 15,000 plus institutions who are actively working under Institution Innovation Council. And this includes not only our metro cities, but tier 2, tier 3 cities, in fact, in rural areas also. And we are having one big initiative we used to call it Smart India Hackathon. And since last 6 editions, every time we try to engage institutions as well as innovators from all sort of lives. And here I just wish to share one beautiful example, how you can ensure that each and every innovation entrepreneurship related activity is also engaging all sections of society, including ensuring female participation. So in SIH, we used to tell all innovators to have to form a 6-member teams, and each member team is first we thought to make it compulsory, but now because of that compulsion, initially there was some less participation, but eventually we have seen that all girls team are coming forward and they are making a team and they are participating in the India's largest, in fact, we can say safely world's largest open innovation hackathon. Until today, close to 2 lakh teams participated in it. And I may say proudly that almost all teams were having female participations. How to ensure that institutions in remote areas are also doing some sort of activities related to innovations, irrespective of the challenges. We thought to we are giving some sort of incentive to them, and through our initiative called Impact Lecture Program, we thought to give them some small incentive so that they can organize some sessions and they may invite some person who is having some legacy of work in innovation entrepreneurship. Same, we try to include our school children. Many times people used to believe that these are small children, what they will do. But in last couple of years, especially our national education policy, critical thinking, design thinking, these things are part of it, but how to integrate it in our operations. So we started engaging with the schools through our School Innovation Council. And now thousands of schools, when I'm talking to you, close to 18,000 plus schools are doing some efforts related to innovation, entrepreneurship. In fact, since last couple of years, we, through various government initiatives, we also started supporting them through various kind of events, competitions. In fact, we are also supporting them. We used to believe, in fact, I used to believe while working with school for almost 10 years, that these are small children. Maybe they will develop some working prototype, but maybe they will not be able to convert it into product. But I'm proudly saying that in last 2 years only, close to 40 plus innovators from a school background, they came forward and they were selected, and we are funding them. And last year only, when we floated a challenge that if you are having any ideas that can solve real problem in our society, in your area, we received more than 1 lakh submissions through School Innovation Contest, and Madam is here, she's aware about it. So basically, trying to not only focusing on some, like we are having very premier institutions, we are having some institutions who are having legacy of working on innovation entrepreneurship, but here, because government policies, we are not only working for selected schools, we are not working for selected institutions, but we are working for all, and to ensure that each and every schools and higher education institutions, they are focusing on innovation entrepreneurship, and they are seeing it as as our honorable PM used to say that we are not innovating just to solve our problems, but we are innovating to solve world's problem. Okay, we are not only innovating for our own growth, but we are innovating so that we may be the job creator, we may contribute in wealth creation, and we may solve real-time issues. And the interest of honorable PM and the policies we are making through various activities, like I can cite so many examples, like India is the first country who adopted design thinking starting from class 6, and it is impacting life. And I believe that design thinking skills is more like inclusive in nature. If each and every person is started adopting it in their day-to-day life, I think they will be more inclusive than others. On the same pattern, we came up with a policy starting from school to college, that how you can have some vision where you are thinking from different angles, and you are creating a space where each and every innovators, irrespective of their background, irrespective of their subject and others, if they are having something, they may do something for the nation. And just last one point, that in last couple of years, how we can help others who are not maybe aware about this ecosystem. So we started focusing on their capacity development. So starting from school to college, we were having very handful of people who were having some sort of understanding about innovation entrepreneurship. So starting from school innovation ambassador training program to innovation ambassador training program for the college faculty as well as for the college students. This is also helping others to we are having more and more resource person. more and more hands who may help others. And from pharmacy institution to rural art and science colleges, all are participating in multiple type of challenges, innovation. So I believe as a nation, we are progressing, and we are also ensuring that this inclusive thought process is also part of our innovation, entrepreneurship, startup landscape. In fact, number of female startup founder is increasing day by day. And also people are developing, like young kids are focusing on SDG related startup innovations. They are also solving many health related projects, and all are passionate about how we can do some meaningful intervention for any human being. So I believe that yes, it's like more like very important integrated part, not like an optional these days. Yes.
Abhishek, I think thank you so much. I think you've given us like the entire landscape of what all is happening in terms of creating that culture of innovation. I love how you brought gender into the equation and how innovation, we can't really look at in isolation. And when we think of inclusion, there are intersectional layers to it. Women in STEM, women in technology, women in innovation. I think a lot of things there. Keeping young people at the center, having innovation councils right from school to higher education. Yeah, I think that's a lot for us to maybe just process and understand that all this is happening. Then what more do we need? And with that, I want to come back to you, Bharti ma'am. And just want to hear, like, I know you are working with CIET, and CIET already is doing so many steps have been taken. You mentioned teachers and pedagogy and curriculum, but want to know, like, if there are specific steps being taken to create that sort of innovative, creative mindset, that design thinking mindset. NEP already talks about it, but how is CIET sort of implementing it at the scale of school education? India is a country of scale. We think of solutions at scale. So yeah.
Okay. So I would like to add few things here. Very first thing, that, as I said, we need to work with the teachers. So we need to create space for teachers for trial and error. They need to be able to work in their own workspace without the fear of error, without the fear of any punitive action for any innovation that they have done. The administrators need to have faith in them that yes, the classrooms which are noisy may not necessarily mean indiscipline. The teacher might be doing something innovative there, right? And then the teachers need to make accessible teaching learning material. And accessible teaching learning material requires nothing but common sense approach to teaching learning material. Say, for example, if you're showing a diagram, if you are showing mathematical figures, why can't we make them tactile? Why can't we make the labels just in braille? This is the simplest thing that we need to do. And many a times in schools nowadays, I'm seeing peer tutoring, cooperative learning at the level of school children. But my take would be, where and when our teachers will start team teaching, when they will start doing interdisciplinary teaching. Say, for example, in English, in languages, you are doing the theme animals. Can I have worksheets in mathematics made out of that theme, wherein children are counting maybe animals, or maybe acting like an animal, maybe becoming familiar with the sounds of an animal, so that our children with blindness are able to connect with the animals whose sounds they are hearing in day-by-day basis in their immediate environment. So this is at the teacher's level. So I think a lot more needs to be done apart from this. We have made a very small beginning. And as far as CIT's initiatives are concerned, allow me to give you one page on NCERT website. When you open your Google browser and you type on that NCERT initiatives for accessibility, you are taken to a web page where all the initiatives of NCERT towards accessibility are listed. Then be it talking books, be it pressures, the disability screening checklist, then be it the textbooks that are being converted nowadays into Indian Sign Languages using the audio, the video, as well as the text material, which is highlighted. Now, of course, signer is there. Half the space and very prominent space is given to the signer. Then, from time to time, CIT, NCERTs are running small orientation courses for particular conditions. Say, for example, every October we are running 5 days orientation on SLB, making the regular teachers and anybody and everybody interested in knowing more about SLB. In last February, we finished a very basic level course in Indian Sign Language to make our participants become familiar with basic signs that they might be using in their day-to-day life, and also to demystify the Indian Sign Language. And in this series, our upcoming course is Let's Understand Better the Deaf Blindness, which would be
Wonderful.
starting very soon.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's so good to hear that like we have the dimensions between special education and mainstream education. We are bridging that gap finally, and it's happening.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing such details of the innovation which are happening at CIET. And I really hope that it continues to be so. We definitely need more of it. I want to come to you, Netravati, now. I know you mentioned about what kind of system and what kind of classroom and what kind of spaces would feel safe. Is there anything more, for a young change maker like you, a young person who's interested in tech, especially a female person, as Abhishek mentioned, what would be beneficial? Because we have policymakers, we have educators here. What would be helpful for us, for the system to empower young change makers like you?
Yes, ma'am. As the Abhishek sir mentioned about SIH Smart India Hackathon, and I'm very much aware of that. And we had participated in that too, and that was a great experience for us. And I wanted to share one thing. And I had a thought, ma'am, actually about electronic waste. As the technology is running behind the electronics, and it's all dependent on electronic devices, everything, and it's generating more and more electronic waste in these many days. And I had a thought of what about disposal of these things, and it will become a dump actually in future. Nobody thought, maybe they are thinking, but I had a thought of how to dispose all these, and this would make an problem to environment and all. And I come up with an idea of uh, collecting. Main problem was in the society was that collection, e-waste collection, and I come up with an idea, and I just presented it in front of my friends and my teachers, and I talked to them actually. And I don't know what was the problem, and I didn't get the great response from everybody. um, all we need is a great support, and we need a emotional support actually, and that is what will drive us to lead the world and help the mankind. And I need I has I'm just representing the students actually. All we need is a support, ma'am. That's what I wanted to tell. And we have to think in a different perspective, and just we need to take a moment to think in their perspective. What are they going through, and what are they thinking? Is there any matter, or is there any useful thing to take this to our environment? That is what we wanted, ma'am.
Yeah.
And also we need more innovation grants like SIH, as Abhishek sir said. That should not stop for one program, or and that has to reach out all the students, not just an premier institution or where students can get the access. All the students in not so premier colleges, they also need to know about all these things, and we need an inclusive competition too, ma'am. And more importantly, uh, I wanted to tell this: we need to shift the mindset of a marks oriented culture to a problem solving kind of a thing. That will really help us a lot. And uh, and also recognizing the student voice, actually, that is what we need.
Thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much, Netravati. I mean, you've put it so beautifully. I really, I want to come to you, Abhishek, but not with a question, just a response to what Netravati is saying here. Because what I hear is not just the technical skills, right? It's not just the funds. It's not just the policies. It's also the emotional support. It's how do we hold space for these students? How do we not put down their ideas? And it starts early on. I think you're quite aware. Honey is already nodding, so I know like we've all faced that. What is your response to Netravati? I mean, how do we create that emotional support? Do we have space for emotional and social support when we think about innovation? Abhishek.
Yes. Thank you so much for highlighting it. I used to interact with some of the innovators who were very passionate. They started something. They had invested their heart and like not only in terms of money, their time, but also everything. They declined. Like they were not like others where they were having two paths: either go for the placement or to work on their dream innovations. And eventually, due to some reasons, they were not able to like in terms of society, they were not successful. So here, like in entire innovation landscape, we are continuously we used to call it empathy map, uh, and I think Honey maybe as an innovator, he may highlight more things, but in our ecosystem, we are having some sort of like, for example, innovation ambassador training program. Why we started, so many reasons, but one of the reason was in any classroom, let's say any student is having very innovative idea, but that person is not receiving any sort of recognition. That person is being like, someone is saying that no, kindly focus on study. Uh, these things are sometimes they used to call it very harsh word, maybe useless. You're just wasting your time. So how we can train them, how we can help them to understand and support this kind of uh, situation, like especially innovators need some additional support in those conditions. And for that, India is like one thing which is happening at big scale is now we are having more and more incubation center. Earlier, innovators used to be like highly dependent on the institutions itself, and institution used to have a like Netravati just said, that more focusing on the marks and the placement and all. But now institutions are also shifting, but incubation centers who are meant for this, they are not only providing support, but they are also providing some sort of right kind of mentorship, right kind of guidance, right kind of timely advice and interventions, like how to raise funds. And maybe if you are not able to succeed like in sort of raising funds from the investors, uh, where are you lacking, what needs to be done. There are so many courses, so many avenues are happening. So I know there is no shortcut solutions, but how we can ensure that each and every innovators, irrespective of the outcome, is receiving like a favorable support from the ecosystem. And when we are saying ecosystem, that ecosystem also includes society. So the startup ecosystem is started recognizing them, started helping them. In fact, I can't reveal right now, but we are thinking to initiate one special program where we are planning to invite those who may have started some good startup ventures. I don't want to name, but they may be right now. People used to call them like you started something, but now you are more like a failure. So what was the failure point of like some learning, something which they can share, and more like a celebration of failure. So we are trying to integrate it, and slowly, but that speed is very low, very slow, I would say, not low. And it's more focusing on training, learning.
Right.
So through various kind of training program, like recently, first time we conducted faculty development program on innovation and entrepreneurship.
Right.
And the one of the like day one was only focusing on that each and every innovator is not going to be successful. Okay. And we should not aim that each and every innovator will convert their idea into startup. So what should be the approach? So I think these things we have to adopt. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Abhishek. I know you have a lot to share, and we just don't have enough time. I think we have a few more minutes left, and I want to come to Honey. I know you're creating that inclusive innovation, and you're creating that the tech. But how do we have more people like you? How do we create more people like you?
First thing is like the market, the environment. The Netravati pointed out very rightly.
One second. I think we need to switch the interpreter. Can we switch the interpreter? Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. Go back.
Yeah. So as the Netravati said, like the emotional support and the a lot of things. So like I won't say name, but people are saying like, why you're making a torch for a blind person.
Okay.
So how they use it. So this is the feedback I got, and I'm a university topper, and like even the lot of good mentors have said to me, but and out of good, like one or more a mentor has given an idea, like if you don't develop, who will develop? So this is a very niche market, very small market, but if you look at it from my angle, it's a huge market of a billion opportunities. Like out of every 7 or 8 people, one person need assisted devices. It's a huge opportunity out there. And how we can create more tortured or more this kind of entrepreneurs, because like we have to create more awareness into the system. Like we already in our mind, we already excluded persons with disability.
Mm,
So this if we include them from the
mm,
childhood, like if we have inclusive schools, if we have inclusive education system and everything inclusive, so when you have inclusive, then they are the part of the society, and we will solve those problems. And like how we cure the policy polio and all those things,
right.
this is how we can the more the visible the problem is, the more we can create work on the solution. Now, right now the problem is not visible, because there's a special schools, there are special blind visually impaired universities and all those things. If those are inclusive, the
Mm,
more the problem is visible, the more the solutions will come into the light.
beautifully put, Honey. Beautifully put. And
Yeah.
with that, I just want to invite all of us for a final checkout question. It's just that maybe in one word or in one phrase, short phrase. Can you share what are you taking away from this discussion? What emotion or what uh, insight that you're taking away from this discussion? And I would invite anybody steady to start. In one word or in one phrase, share the emotion or the insight you're taking away from today's discussion.
Should I go the first?
Yes, Sunny, absolutely.
As Abhishek sir said, like we should celebrate the failure. Like even at tortured, we follow the same thing. Like we know this might work, this might won't work. Don't waste much of energy. Fail fast and move forward. So we should celebrate this failure. So we have to teach to younger innovators, and
Yeah,
the idea will fail, the entrepreneur will never fail.
beautiful. Celebrating failures. Yes. Abhishek, I'll go next.
I think like in our national education policy also, uh, we are not only recognizing critical thinking, collaboration, but we are also wish to see India, which is focusing on holistic education, and also focusing on integrating skills like empathy, uh, resilience. So I think these things are very important, and we all have to practice it. And that way we
Absolutely.
can ensure like better build.
So you're taking empathy and resilience. Great. I'm going to come to you, Netravati, if you're ready.
I'm ready. And not just this 1.5 hour, ma'am. And when I came to know about the webinar, and I was going through social emotional learning from that time to now, and I what I learned or what I'm taking away is considering and adopting both emotional and social capacities, ma'am. Both,
Both.
and how to include those in my life and how to take those along with my life. That's what I've learned and taking away.
Social and emotional competencies. Thank you, Netravati. Fatima.
Yeah, for me, takeaway from this discussion would be every need, every insight, and every child matters. We can't leave the need away. We can't leave the insights that we are gaining, maybe from failures, maybe from success, every experience that matters. And of course, NEP 2020, every child matters.
Every child matters. What I am taking away is that when people come together, when we have stakeholders who are impacted at the center of it, everything becomes better. I think that's what I'm taking away. Competition is not the answer to create innovation. It's always been collaboration. So connection and collaboration is what I'm taking away from today's discussion. Thank you so much, everybody. It was really beautiful. Thank you for going deeper with your thoughts. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And I hope that we've been able to, it's a topic that we can spend days and days, but I think what we have tried today, scratch the surface to really see innovation and technical skills not in isolation, but from the angle of inclusion, from the lens of social emotional learning. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.